Yes, people, how's it going? Welcome back to Lily White Lane. Hope you're doing good, hope you're keeping safe and well, and hope you're having a fantastic and a smashing Friday. Huge game for the boys tomorrow, Tottenham versus Bournemouth, as we do travel down to the south coast to take on Gary O'Neill's men in hopefully what should be 3 points. It really should be 3 points. It's a winnable game. And hopefully we can pick up all 3 points, restore some confidence into this team, and kick on to a massive game next week against Marseille. But look, I wanted to come on here and I wanted to talk about a transfer rumour. A transfer rumour I've been hearing over the last few hours, over the last few days, over the last few months in all honesty. James Maddison to Tottenham Hotspur. Now, do I want James Maddison at the club? Definitely. I think James Maddison is a top player. I think he's much better. And this might sound bad. No player's bigger than a club, but I think he's better than that Leicester team at the minute. I think he's the best player they have. And I think even when they consistently perform badly, such as against us, he was the man that really stood out in that game. This guy stands out every game for Leicester. Scored again against Wolves. You know, scoring free kicks. He's got great... And this is something that would really benefit us. His ability on set pieces. I know we've scored from a few corners, but let's be honest. Son doesn't have the best delivery from a corner. Perisic doesn't have the best delivery. When it comes to shooting free kicks, we never even have a chance of scoring with Harry Kane on there. You bring in someone like James Maddison. This guy has fantastic free kick technique. Absolutely fantastic free kick technique. And look, I'd really want him at Spurs. Do I think Spurs will bring him in? I think, honestly, if we're looking to bring him in January or next summer, it will depend if Antonio Conte's here. I don't think Antonio Conte will bring in James Maddison. And as much as people go, even if we don't bring him in, that's backing. I don't think it's a backing issue. I just think James Maddison isn't a Conte-type player. And I'm not saying that another manager could do better with this squad. But for me, there's players... I am Conte in. I'm not Conte out. You can criticise Conte without being Conte out. But I think there's players in this team right now who would do a lot better in different systems, in a 4-3-3, such as Bissouma, such as Spence. And I think Maddison's one of those. He's a player that I'd love at Tottenham, but I can't really see how he'd fit into Conte's system. Conte plays 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. I can't really see how Maddison's going to play in that. Potentially attacking in a 3-5-2, it doesn't really work. Conte likes his midfielders to be more holding midfielders, to be a little bit more defensive, and, not real creative midfielders. And sometimes we lack in games that creativity. And yeah, I think I'm not asking Conte to change the system, because the guy's obviously getting results with top of our UCL group and third in the league, but I just can't see Maddison fitting into Conte's system. I've got to be honest. I think for example, he'd excel at an Arsenal. He'd play in that same sort of position as a Martin Odegaard. He'd excel as a Chelsea player. He'd play in that same sort of position as Mason Mount. He'd excel at Manchester United, I think. Could I see him really excelling at Manchester City or Tottenham? No, and that's not just because of quality. It's because of the system, for me, that Conte and Pep Guardiola play. But look, if we are going after Maddison, and if we are going in for him, I will happily have him at the club. I really rate the guy I really rate the guy highly. I think he's got fantastic ability from set pieces. His delivery is brilliant. He's got one hell of a strike on him from a free kick, and even not from a free kick. He's scored some bangers this season. The one against us, the one against Wolves. And look, I really rate the player. So I'd love him at Spurs. I want him at Spurs. I'd definitely take him at Spurs. But do I think he sort of fits into that Conte system? No, I think Conte prefers to go with, if this makes sense, more intelligent players. More like, football intelligent players. Players who have a little bit of experience, have been there in their time. Players such as Perisic. Instead of a Spence, I think Antonio Conte would prefer someone such as a Yannick Carrasco, if that makes sense. Someone with a bit of experience. If Conte was going for midfielders, he'd probably want someone such as, someone with quite a bit of experience, if that makes sense. Even like a Fernandinho before he retired would fit into that Conte system. He likes experienced players. He's not too keen on youth players, if I'm gonna be honest. But look, we'll see what happens with this Maddison deal. I'd love him at Spurs. I think he's a fantastic player, as I say. I rate the guy so highly. Do I think he fits into Conte's system? Probably not. And do I think Conte wants him? No. You know, Daniel Levy, we heard in the summer that Levy and Paratici were considering him, but Conte didn't want him. And look, as much as people go they can't understand that, I can understand it. I know he prefers to go for more experienced players and players that fit into his system, but I'd like him to take a punt that really could benefit us. You know, that sort of game against Sporting, 1-0 down at half-time. Maybe you bring on Maddison at half-time, create a few more opportunities even, and we could have won that game 2-1. You know, sometimes we lack that creativity off the bench. We've got Bissouma who can change the formation in the system, but we don't have a player who can come on such as a Martin Odegaard type player, a Mesut Ozil formerly type player. I don't know why I'm naming all Gooners, but even in the 90s, a Paul Gascoigne, someone who can really influence the midfield and go forward and create for the strikers and the wingers. I think Maddison would do that brilliantly. But look, we'll wait and see what happens with this deal. I'd definitely be interested in it. Please comment your thoughts on this deal below. Would you like Maddison at the club, or do you think he's maybe not really a Conte player? Comment your thoughts, and as always, have a smashing rest of your Friday. Take care of yourselves, all the best, God bless, and as always, come on you Spurs, in Conte we trust. Let's get the 3 points tomorrow on the South Coast.